Welcome everyone. As you are joining us, we'll get underway in just a couple seconds. We'll let people kind of stream in and settle down first. Okay. Good to see you, Jenna. Hey, Narissa Young, welcome aboard. If you guys want to say some hellos in the chat, that will make us all feel at home. And why don't we just go ahead and get started as people are here. I'm pretty excited for tonight. I'm Matthew T. Hall. I'm the president of the Society of Professional Journalists. And I'm stoked that we're going to get some words of wisdom tonight from Dave Jurgensen. And I'm really excited to be here to stand in solidarity with and celebrate student journalism, to celebrate all of you on this call tonight. I'm also excited to be here with our co-host, SPJ board member and the chair of our Journalism Education Committee, Yvette Walker. Hey, Yvette.
Hey, and I am also very happy to be here. I know we're going to have a great turnout tonight. People are still streaming in. Make sure you say hello in the chat and put where you're from. SPJ began at DePaul University 111 years ago. And since then, our student members have been the lifeblood of this organization. In SPJ, student journalists and those just emerging into the profession find a support system, a professional network, and opportunities for adding new knowledge and skills. And we proudly provide opportunities for students to showcase their work and earn recognition through our awards programs. And that is the main focus for tonight. And while this event would have typically happened in person and during our annual convention, we're glad to still be able to gather via Zoom and honor our winners and simply join together as a community of student journalists and advisors.
Yeah, and what a community it is. In addition to our awards tonight, we're also excited to have a keynote from one of the most innovative, inventive, and hilarious journalists working today, Dave Jurgensen of the Washington Post. True story, when I visited the Post newsroom last year, I took a picture of his empty desk and slacked it to a colleague and said, "This is where the magic happens." We'll introduce him in just a little bit. But before then, do me a favor. As you guys are all saying hello, take a minute and let's fill that chat room with some college pride, right? That's what we're all here for tonight. So go ahead and say hi. And as you're doing so, give a shout out to the university or campus chapter or both that you represent. And with that in mind, I went to the University of New Hampshire, so I'll give a shout out to UNH, both UNH SPJ and the Wildcats.
Well, I spent my undergraduate years at Northwestern University outside Chicago, so also go Wildcats. But I need to add that today I'm a proud Sooner at the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, and looks like we have people chiming in from all over the country. This is awesome. I see a San Diego State where I'm from, so I got to give a shout out to that. But CSU, Utah, Texas, DePaul, this is amazing.
This is really great. Ohio University, another OU, George Mason. All right, William Patterson, DePaul, I think you already said that. Columbia, Columbia Journalism School, Webster, lots of great schools in there. Well, let's present a set of awards before we get to our keynote speaker. COVID-19 has dominated the news throughout the world since early March, and it became very clear very quickly that some of the most important journalism in a generation was needed. College media outlets offered extraordinary reporting, and so early in the pandemic, SPJ decided to begin a weekly contest to recognize that work. We were not alone either. We joined forces with 4 other organizations to make possible the CCC Awards for College Coronavirus Coverage. Our partners all deserve thanks. The Associated Collegiate Press, the Society for News Design, College Broadcasters, Inc., and the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. Also, I'd like to give a big thanks to our Region 3 coordinator, Michael Koretsky, who championed this idea and also did a substantial amount of the legwork to pull this off quickly.
And they really did pull it off. The response was phenomenal, staggering. In 2 months, 238 student media outlets submitted 995 entries containing 1,574 pieces of content. We also got submissions from interns at 20 pro outlets, including the Washington Post, the New York Times, and USA Today. We'll put a link to some of the awards in the chat box so you can see how really amazing this journalism was. And tonight, we want to highlight and honor a few of those winners. Our judges determined that these outlets or individuals did such exceptional work that they deserved the highest recognition.
Yes. First, we'd like to recognize WUFT, the public radio and TV station based in the J School at the University of Florida. This college media outlet dominated the CCC Awards, and 4 women, Dana Cassidy, Angela DeMichelle, Karina Elwood, and Toby Nell Perkins, dominated the COVID-19 coverage at WUFT. Thanks to them, WUFT broke news that was picked up statewide and by national media. One of our pro judges, an editor in the DC area, thought one of their ideas was so good, he used it when his newsroom was working on a similar story. Next, we recognize Lily LaMadrid, writer of Let Me Count the Days, which appeared in the PSU Vanguard. This Portland State University student wrote about her experiences dating in the coronavirus era. And more than one judge said it was the best writing among more than 1,500 pieces of content submitted to the CCC Awards. And finally, we recognize Amanda Sue, an international student at the University of Central Oklahoma. She submitted a compelling Facebook video and Twitter thread detailing her journey back to Malaysia during the pandemic and her quarantine confinement. One judge, a broadcaster currently covering COVID-19 herself, said of her effort, Sue has produced a compelling video, and her Twitter feed updates as she made her way through the airport were both enlightening and equally compelling. And I just found out that Sue is still back home in Malaysia working on student media for UCO. Thank you to these journalists and all of the students who submitted entries for the CCC Awards.
Yeah, phenomenal. Thank you for that work, and thank you, Yvette, for sharing some of it. And now, on to our keynote. I'd like to invite Dave Jurgensen to join me on screen as I briefly introduce him and then get out of his way. There he is. We are thrilled to have Dave Jurgensen as our keynote speaker tonight. He is a graduate of DePauw University, the birthplace of SPJ, and a place where more than a few well-known journalists have got their start. Dave's a video producer, editor, and writer for the Department of Satire and various scripted series for the Washington Post. He also interviews kids around the country for his show Short Takes, which is really funny. But you probably know him best as the Washington Post TikTok guy. If you follow him there, and you should if you don't, you'll know that he's known to leave his apartment in a tux to get the newspaper. You understand that Lola is the true star of his TikToks, and you probably have an abiding appreciation for spam. We are glad he's here with us tonight, and we might just collect on a side bet if Sam or Pam make an appearance too. For real, thanks for being here, Dave. Take it away.
Thanks for having me, everyone. Sam is already here, so whoever made that side bet, you're good to go. Pam is out of reach though, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe she'll make an appearance. But thank you again for having me. I did go to DePauw University, so I'm very excited to sort of continue the tradition that DePauw apparently started. I didn't know we started, so I'm learning all the time. But part of learning all the time is kind of what I do with TikToks. So I'm going to sort of walk you guys through both my process tonight, but also just kind of what I do with the Washington Post TikTok account. So normally in this kind of keynote scenario, I stand in front of a screen and I point at a PowerPoint and it plays my videos, and I get to just sit there while people watch the video, and that's a lot easier for me. That's not the case today. It's very difficult to play videos, over the internet here. So what I'm going to do is go through a PowerPoint, hope everyone's laughing, Ellen. Assume you are if you aren't. And they'll be dropping links in the chat that if there's a TikTok I reference in a particular slide. So make sure to go to the chat and click the link and watch the TikTok if you aren't familiar with it, or just watch it because you want to. And I'll do my best here. And of course, we're going to have questions at the end. So I'd love to, any questions you have, please lay them on me. I'd love to answer anything afterwards. And let's kind of get going here. I'm going to try to do a screen share. I'm not that old, so I should be able to figure it out. Let's see, share that. Okay, someone stop me if this isn't working, but I think it's working. Okay, so let's get rolling. All right, so we're just going to start with this slide, and I'll kind of walk you through everything. But this is actually our most popular TikTok at this point for the Washington Post. And the reason it's so popular, I think, is because it's very self-referential. It's very much, we're aware of what we're doing on the app and that we are this really old 142-year-old newspaper that exists on a 2-year-old app. And so from the very beginning, if you're not really familiar with the sort of TikTok origin story before we started building out the Washington Post cinematic TikTok universe, I actually found out about TikTok, I would say late 2018, and was really into the app and felt like it actually would be something that would that highlights, not highlights, but that my strengths could work towards making a really good TikTok account for the Post. And the Washington Post already kind of exists on Reddit. We've been on Snapchat for a very long time. So I felt very comfortable approaching my bosses with a really large packet explaining why we should be on TikTok. So we joined late May of 2019. So now we've been on TikTok for about a year and a half. This TikTok that you're seeing on the screen is from a few weeks ago. It was using a very popular audio on the app that I'd come across and been waiting for a good reason to use it. So hopefully, I believe that link is also going to be in the slide. So make sure you're watching that. And I don't know if I should give you, I was going to give you guys time to watch it, but we'll just assume that you're watching it and can listen to me at the same time. So this is basically just a TikTok kind of poking fun at everyone on TikTok that may not know about the debate, but at the same time kind of being very aware that, that traditional media is kind of ignoring Gen Z. And that's a big part of my thesis with TikTok, is that there's a whole audience on TikTok that we should really be appealing to and listening to. And so that's been our really big approach the whole time. And I think that it's become a very effective way of getting to know everyone that's not just, in their 40s reading a physical newspaper. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And so that's been a big part of what I've been trying to do going forward, is kind of address that we're in a new age of news and we should try to adapt to it. Okay, I just flipped past that by accident, but we're doing a day in the life. Okay, so this is a picture of my apartment. It kind of looks like this now. This is from a couple weeks ago, but it always looks like this. And since March, I've been doing quarantine TikToks, which means I can't do them in the office. So I've been just doing at least two TikToks a day and posting them to TikTok. So I wanted to walk you through a specific day where I posted 3 TikToks, because I felt like all 3 of these TikToks were very different. We're all part of the overall approach we have to TikTok, and I think are really, really reflect every part of TikTok that I think is important, that I think is important for the Washington Post to be on TikTok. Okay, so the very first TikTok was a partnership that the Washington Post has with ProPublica. It's not a partnership that we had specifically for TikTok, but it was an overall partnership that the two places had, and the idea, well, more than idea, the concept was, if you see anything bad happening where you're trying to go vote, if you see voter intimidation or anything like that while you're at the polls, here's a number to call, and here's what you have to do if you see that happening. And so for a TikTok, which is a visual medium, I thought, well, this is perfect. I think we can also make a TikTok for this particular partnership. And so we approached it with, why don't we just make it like a really corny 80s explainer video? And that's exactly what we did. And so my coworker, Teddy Amenabar, he actually ended up writing this script where it was very much like a Shazam commercial, where every time I say, oh, you see something weird? And it was, tell the Post, and people shouted it. So make sure to watch that link as well. But the whole idea here was like, let's address that this is really corny and cheesy and silly, that we're trying to get you guys to text a number by just being corny and cheesy. And that's always been the idea all way back to May 2019 is that if we're going to kind of be the corny dad with dad jokes, let's just lean into it and let everyone on TikTok know that we know we're corny. And when I say we, I mostly include me because that is essentially my sense of humor. And so that's always worked for us on TikTok because I think it's really it's important for us as a publication to approach it not as a really stuffy publication, but as someone that's just trying to be invited to the dinner party that is TikTok and just make some jokes once in a while. Okay, so the second TikTok was a more serious tone TikTok, and it was a part of a much bigger project. We ended up making 6 TikToks for this George Floyd project, and again, this was another project that wasn't just exclusive to TikTok. In fact, it was much bigger than TikTok. I was just a small part of this, but we had several journalists who, over a few months, wrote I think it was 6 stories total about George Floyd's life, and the whole idea was to kind of break down every aspect of this person's life that led to his final moments. And obviously it was a very serious story, but we wanted to bring the viewers on TikTok to these stories on our website so they could really understand a lot about systemic racism and all the different events that led up to the very horrific event that happened in June. And so actually with this very first TikTok, I'm just going to slide through, put all these here. I definitely would love if you guys could watch this link. I think it's my personal favorite of the 6 George Floyd TikToks because it used a popular audio on the app that was a super random, generally pretty audio that was used for funny TikToks. And we were able to use it to really show what all 6 articles were going to be about with this George Floyd piece. And each of those little bubbles you see, good schools, generational wealth, equal treatment under the law, drug treatment programs, all those were going to be different articles that we were going to preview over the next month. So this was the first of those George Floyd TikToks. And Toulouse here was the reporter who wrote that article. So that's another cool aspect of this is a lot of times with these TikToks, we are trying to inform everyone, but we're also trying to peel back the curtain and show the reporters that work at the Washington Post. It's a little more difficult now that we're in quarantine and I'm not in person with these guys and I can't just record it. I have to ask them to record it themselves, and that's not always easy, but Toulouse is the exception here. He did a really good job. And so again, showing these different reporters on our TikTok has been really good in the sense of, again, peeling back the curtain and allowing viewers to see what it's like to work at the Washington Post, but also in an age of distrust for the media, where a lot of people just don't even have a face that they connect to a written story. They just, have a blank feeling, or a blanket feeling rather, about a publication. This was a really good way to be like, hey, take a look. This is the Washington Post. There are real people behind it, and they're really good journalists. Okay, so that was the George Floyd TikTok. Again, I encourage you to watch it. The third TikTok was a whole other one just out of left field, and it was kind of a breaking news moment. It kind of flew by most people's radar, but one thing that I've noticed on TikTok, and it has become increasingly true, is that we have a pretty large international audience, and Cristiano Ronaldo is someone that is essentially an international figure. Way back when we started doing telenovela TikToks that were basically dramatic soap operas in our newsroom. We don't do them as often now. It's a little hard for me to do a telenovela TikTok in my own apartment. But again, this whole international audience idea, it's really big, and our TikTok has actually brought in a lot of different people. And this was a really great way to be like, let's talk about this guy who just tested positive for coronavirus. And it was very simple. It was a universal TikTok in the sense of the joke, because everyone knows in soccer, when someone gets a goal, you get the announcer going, goal. And so instead of goal, the idea was, why don't I just, read the news on my computer and yell, no. So again, that very simple TikTok, very easy setup, and that TikTok did really well. Going back to the process of creating this TikTok, however, you can see part of what the initial draft was, which was I was going to really focus in on these words and make a big moment out of the headline. I ended up not doing that. I ended up doing it in a different way. You can see in the TikTok, because I didn't want it to be as complicated, be that complicated. I wanted to make it less complicated. Really hard to explain all the thinking that goes behind everything, but I wanted to point out this slide to show you that there are several drafts of a TikTok. Just like writing an article, I probably have 5 or 6 different versions of what I want to do for for the most part when I'm about to publish a TikTok and I go to my manager and I say, this is the one I want to do. It's just about it. Again, like any news article, you're thinking, how are people going to react to this? And is this going to inform them the best way possible? So here's a clip of how it ended up looking. Which was, this was one of my favorite things is the comment section of TikTok. And in the comment section, people are always just very silly. And so we just had a lot of people in the comment section just going, no. And I was replying no to them. And so, just another reason to love TikTok. Okay. So I just want to take a step back from that one day. Again, those last 3 TikToks were all from one day, and just show some more variety examples of what kind of TikToks we do, and hopefully kind of explain more of these TikToks to you. And if you're listening and might have a question about these, please write it down so that I can answer it afterwards. All right, so this was another George Floyd TikTok, and this was actually I don't know if interactive is the right word, but it was more of a visual. Let's get people's attention just by literally using magnets, because to me magnets are fascinating, and I was definitely that kid in elementary school that was playing with the north-south magnets for like hours, just being fascinated by it. So that reminded me of literally magnet schools, and that was the subject of one of the George Floyd TikToks, was explaining magnet schools and how in some cases magnet schools actually take away from the schools in the inner city. And that's a whole thing that you should watch in this TikTok, which again will be dropped in the link. This reporter who wrote that particular article did a really good job explaining exactly how this concept works and the difficulties with magnet schools in the case of George Floyd School in Houston. So again, another long explainer TikTok that actually ended up doing really well, because I think people do have a thirst for knowledge on the app when they trust the source that's been around for a year, doing, a mixture of memes and news. Okay, so this is probably the most popular TikTok of the last month or so. Definitely worth watching this link as well. This was another audio that when I first heard it, I just kind of sat on it for 2 weeks because I knew that it was just going to work. The whole concept is it's from an actual song where I'm at the Pizza Hut, I'm at the Taco Bell, I'm at the Taco Bell, combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. And as soon as I heard that audio, I was like, I know I'm going to have to use this. And then I just kept thinking about what are combinations of things that keep happening lately. And I ultimately just kind of landed on, well, it just feels like 2020 is a combination of several years. It just feels like a combination of terrible things are happening or just too much news at once. And so the whole concept of this TikTok was like, this is happening, they're all happening in the year 2020. And that's all I had to do. I just had to kind of dance a little bit in front of the camera. It edits together really well, and that's because I edit all these on my computer. I don't edit them in app. I care about each tenth of a second. Because that's sort of my history is video editing. So I really take the time to make sure that everything is very punchy. And when you see zooms happening, all that stuff is added in post-production. It's just to kind of give it a little bit of extra. Look at this. We're trying to grab your attention. Just like, for instance, if you're writing an article and you want to have the headline grabbing article, a headline that grabs your attention, rather. That's exactly what I do with TikToks. I'm really editing it down to every second and really taking care to make sure that people are going to watch the whole thing and really take something from it. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, even though it feels like 50 years ago, we had an election. We started calling it Election Week. I was calling it National Sandwich Day because National Sandwich Day was that Tuesday, and the was that National Sandwich Day was never going to end. So that was sprinkled throughout a lot of these election TikToks. We did 22 total. This is 18 of them. And they actually got, as you can guess, increasingly crazy and just sleep deprived and all these things. And what I was trying to do on top of, explain what was happening, what states were being called, eventually who was going to be the president-elect, all these different aspects of it. I was also trying to reflect how people were feeling in real time. You could see people were really stressed out, especially if you're on Twitter, which I don't recommend, but people were just kind of losing their minds, waiting to see what was going to happen in the election. So it was a really fun process, and I think that it was a really good example of why our account should be doing hard news as well. And it actually really helped me to pivot lately, where I'm doing more often actual news TikToks more often than memes. Memes TikToks. That's not a phrase. Okay, so this was the most watched TikTok of that week, and I'm really glad it was. I don't know if the screen share is blocking out the bullet points here, but okay. So this TikTok, we made it. I think I made it around noon of election day. Yeah, I posted about 1 p.m. And so it was before any results came out, and it was something that I kept seeing in articles leading up to the election. And I thought this is going to be an issue. I think that not enough people are paying attention to the fact that there are so many mail-in ballots that we're not going to have them counted by election day or election evening or even the next day, especially as we knew in Pennsylvania they had appealed to count them beforehand, but they didn't. So we knew that Pennsylvania mail-in ballots were going to take a long time. And of course, that's exactly what happened. But I was so proud of this TikTok for was that because we published it before any of the chaos, people kind of could go back to it and go, oh, look, like the Washington Post told me to relax, take it easy. We're not going to know right away the results of the election. And we did it, again, in like a fun, trending audio on TikTok. And so I was really happy with this overall, and I think it kind of helps set the tone for the rest of the week. And a lot of this goes back to, being on TikTok for over a year allowed us to have this TikTok, because by being present, by listening to everyone, by really just being present overall in the app, we were able to kind of gain the trust of our readers, or you could call it viewers or whatever, to the point where they saw this TikTok and go, okay, I think we should really trust the process here. There we go. Okay. So this was this is my personal favorite TikTok of the week. Again, trying to reflect how people were feeling throughout election week, while also, sprinkling in a little bit of the news. And the news was that for the most part, everyone at this time on Friday, or Thursday rather, was waiting for Nevada to just count the votes. And the joke was that Nevada was just kind of taking their time. And so that's what I played with, was like, the person on the left is all of America trying to get Nevada to hurry up. And of course, Nevada just is wondering why This Is Us didn't air this week. And so I think, again, if you look at the bullet points there, the most important one to me was injecting humor into all this, because number one, TikTok is essentially based in either humor or lip syncing and dancing. And so if you really are trying to appeal to this audience and really try to blend in while people are flipping through their For You page, you should really catch their attention with something that's funny, and hopefully they learn something as well. Okay, so again, kind of going into all this, like TikTok itself was originally Musical.ly, which was just lip syncing, and then it became more about dancing. A lot of people just thought that's all it was. If you're familiar with TikTok, you know that that's not the case at all. But there's still a bit of a stigma to break, and I've been really working hard to make a point that even though people are just scrolling on a For You page and they're not going straight to the Washington Post profile, I think, and I strongly feel, that the way that TikTok is built, which is very different from Instagram, for instance, is that discovery is truly how you are learning on the app, or how you're consuming content. And I think if you can really get someone's attention early on into TikTok, they'll be interested in news. You just have to do it in the right way. So this TikTok is from today. I published it about an hour, maybe less, I think, after Rudy Giuliani started leaking hair dye during a press conference. So of course this served to do two things. Obviously there's the humor related aspect of this, but if you're listening to the TikTok, you hear former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, now the president's lawyer, talking about all the different aspects of his lawsuit and all the different things that they're trying to do. So while that isn't necessarily coherent throughout the TikTok, now we've actually informed the public, like this press conference was today. If you want to learn more about it, go to the link in our bio or go to our website. And so again, you've got their attention with, oh my God, that guy's leaking. Now Dave is leaking because he's watching it. And so there's that hilarity to it, but now we are actually grabbing the attention of here's what happened today in the news. The other part of this too was that I believe we were really the first, at least big TikTok account to post about this event. And a lot of people compared it to the fly on Mike Pence's head. And I think that's absolutely right. You could argue that the whole fly thing was a distraction from the substance of the debate. But for me, I look at things like fly or a leaking head as a window into getting people to actually get involved and stay with the news. I don't want them to be talking about leaking heads for the rest of the day, but I do want them to kind of have that step into becoming informed and actually knowing what's going on. Okay, so I've been kind of sprinkling this throughout, but the question I often get is, why does the Washington Post have a TikTok? A lot of reasons. And I'm just going to walk through these because it's I want to really nail the point with each of them. Near 2 billion people have downloaded TikTok. So if you're talking about audience and you're a newspaper and most of your readers and subscribers are people that are, older than 50, why not go to the app that has, a majority of Gen Z and all this audience that we're not reaching? That's part of the whole presence aspect is we're already on Snapchat, we're already in Reddit, we're all in these other places. Why wouldn't we be on TikTok? And I honestly feel the same for any news organization, that if TikTok is a place that you should be, because that's where the people are. One big thing for me that's been a really big part of this year is informing, but also combating misinformation. I think there's a lot of misinformation online. We all know that. But even TikTok, a young app, suffers from it because there's nothing in place to really help fact check people. And that's something that we've started to do a lot is really try to get ahead of news stories before they unravel and people are becoming misinformed all over the app. Going back to the other point, but introducing Gen Z to a newspaper, I joke about this, but it happens literally once a week. It happened 5 times last week. Oftentimes people think we're in Seattle. They don't know the Washington Post is in DC. And why would they? They have no reason to have known about the Washington Post. They probably didn't see all the President's Men. They're not, to them, Watergate just is something about adding gate to the end of a controversy. They don't know about the Washington Post history, and I don't blame them. And so for us, it's like introducing to a whole new generation that is unaware of the Post. Of course, the last point is new subscriptions aren't such a bad thing. We have converted a lot of people to subscribe to the Post online and to the paper edition. So that's always a good thing. This was comments just from today. I just threw this in the slide. I was really happy about it. Essentially just a lot of people saying that they have subscribed to the Washington Post, which is really cool. This is another aspect of just why we're the effect of our TikTok, but why I think it works so well is when someone like Chrissy Teigen is aware of the TikTok account, it's not such a bad thing. That means you're doing something right. She is obviously extremely online. Going back to the Nixon thing, this is also from today. It just made me laugh. So yeah, it's truly 2 different things. But I'm glad that we could be a dinosaur at a TikTok, but also report on Watergate. Okay, this is just a fun video I like to show. This is back in the office 1,000 years ago. I was trying to put a mannequin together. My coworker caught this and tweeted it. And I always like to show this video because obviously it's very funny. It's very strange out of context, but I think a really important thing that I've wanted to instill the whole time with our TikTok account is that we're having fun and we are an office and we are a newsroom, not unlike the show The Office, and try to add that relatable aspect to it. We don't need to watch it again. We're stuck in this forever. Okay, that's it. I'm happy to take any questions at this point. Hopefully actually we did get quite a few questions and right. Several people would like to know, Dave, how much time do you spend watching TikToks? The answer, I'm sorry I'm still screen sharing, but I'll just kind of stick until I figure it out. Not as much as you think. It's not because I don't want to either. It's more about if I spent as much time as I want to, I wouldn't be able to make any TikToks. So I would say probably like about a half hour a day and early in the morning, because I'm trying to catch all the new audios that, like for instance, if an audio is popular and it's only been around for a couple of days, then I try to use the audio that day on TikTok. So that's the main reason I'm on TikTok, is just to be ahead of the trends. But if I got lost in it, I would never get anything done.
Haley Robertson says, "Hi, Dave. Your work inspired us to create a TikTok account for the Daily Orange newsroom. Thank you.
I've seen it. It's so good."
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're curious, in addition to following current events and trends, do you draw inspiration from other TikTok creators? Who are some of your favorites?
Okay, and that's actually sort of similar to the last question in the sense that if I watched other creators too much, I feel like I would copy them, and I'm really afraid of doing that. Not because I don't love those creators. That's the problem, is that I like them so much that I don't want to emulate them to the point where the voice of our account or the humor of our account feels too much like another one. That said, I have plenty of accounts that I just absolutely love, and I always blank when people ask me, but the most wholesome account that I love is the McFarlane family, the McFarlanes. It's like just the best family ever. I actually had the opportunity to interview them recently, the whole family, and I was just delighted to find that they were exactly who they were on TikTok. So a roundabout answer, there's that. But I would add to that, what's so cool about TikTok is most people that I've met that are creators are exactly like their account. And I feel like that's not necessarily the case on YouTube or other places. So it's really cool that TikTok sort of thrives off of authenticity.
Beth Dedman would like to know, what is the process your TikToks have to go through before they're approved to be posted?
Yeah, another great question. No one ever believes me, but they do have to get approved. I think people are surprised they get approved because they're so weird. But my manager has to approve each of them, approve the language, approve the captions, all these things. My manager is the head of creative video, which is still the section of the Washington Post that I work in. Matt mentioned early, like right when he introduced me, that I do a bunch of other videos for the Department of Satire, which is another YouTube channel. Anyway, my boss, that's the boss of all of that. She has to approve those TikToks. And if she ever kind of has a little bit of a weird feeling about it, she sends it up to an editor or to the editor, Marty Barron. And that's always a little scary when he has to approve a TikTok, but there's a process.
Sarah Slavin would like to know, are you worried about TikTok's longevity and your career if TikTok dies, / did the possible TikTok ban scare you?
No and no, and I'll explain why. It's not that I don't. So going back a little bit in my career, all the way back to 2014, Facebook was the main sort of app that I worked for, in the sense that the place I was working at the time, most of what we made was for Facebook video. And we put all of our eggs in that basket in Facebook video. And then Facebook video was like, never mind, we're not, like, don't worry, like, everything we told you was wrong. We're no longer emphasizing video on the app. And so that whole experience, as well as Vine, because I also made an account for Vine at my old job. That experience of those things going away is something I'm very familiar with. And so I'm kind of always ready for like that moment where, you know, the carpet gets pulled out from under you and you're just like, well, what am I going to do? With that said, that's why I just kind of go full speed ahead with whatever we're doing, because you can't help it. There's nothing you can do to prepare for it. With the TikTok ban itself, I was never too worried about it, because every time the sort of language was used in like the executive orders, it was always something that were like literally within 12 hours, a lawyer said, well, this doesn't work. This legally doesn't make sense. So I was never too worried about it, because it was never, I don't think it was adequately addressed. I certainly think there are privacy issues, but nothing that has been done has really actually seemed to have been for that reason. So I don't know. That's a whole separate conversation. I could talk for a long time on that, but the short answer is I wasn't too worried about it, and I'm definitely not worried now.
Okay. And actually, Kaylee Carroll had a question about the privacy concerns that you addressed a little bit. So some larger questions. So Joanna Talabani says, in our chapter, there's been some disagreements about the use of emojis and friendly banter, exclamation, etc., for our social media account, particularly that as a journalism organization, the tone should be more serious. So as a follow-up to your "this is the new age of news" point, what would you say to the anti-emoji SPJ members?
Oh man, I don't want to stick myself in the middle of this, because I think they might be surprised by my answer. I don't necessarily love emojis. I don't know if that makes me really old. Man, this is tough. That's a really good question, and I can see where you probably are having that debate, and that's a really healthy debate. It's not that I think don't use emojis. I think it's for the situation. So for instance, today when I posted like a very silly TikTok where I was a dinosaur, the dinosaur emoji made sense because the topic was silly. However, I think if the topic is serious or, you know, hard news, something very, whatever, hard hitting, I don't think emojis would make sense. So I think it kind of is the situation. I think it's not so much you shouldn't use it. It's just, you know, read the room a little bit.
Okay, let's see. Gosh, there's some really good questions in here. So this is a question, and I don't know who the person is, says anonymous, but how do you build trust between newsrooms and communities through social media? Where's the balance between professionalism and relatability? And also you might add creativity.
That's a really, so I'll answer from my experience, and I don't know this would be everyone else's experience, but this is what happened with me specifically with TikTok, which is that I think you just kind of have to find where you can relate to someone to sort of use I don't know if this is, I hope I'm answering the question correctly. The question is, how do newsrooms come together in that way? Or
Yes. How using social media, how can the newsroom connect with the community?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So again, yeah, I use this that dinner party metaphor. I flew past it really fast in the presentation there, but I always look at TikTok itself as this dinner party. We got invited to it, but we aren't like making the food. We just brought a bottle of wine and we're like, we're gonna tell a joke or we're gonna have a conversation with you, but we're not gonna be in charge of what's happening. So I've always feel that as the Washington Post in on Reddit or TikTok or Twitter, we should have our own voice, but we shouldn't be telling people how to use the app. So I think it's about having someone in that social media role or video role or whatever that understands the culture of that particular social media application. Because everything has very different, like what I do love about social media is that every different place has a different sort of tone and style, and so I think that the company's presence there should match that the tone or style of that community.
Okay. And there are several questions about you personally, about your background and who your influences. But Eric Bull asks, do you think the TikTok account is successful due to your personality, charisma, drawing people in? Do you think the account could live on if you were to move to a new project?
No and yes. I think what I'm doing is working, but I don't think that I was like the one person that could do it. And I imagine that if someone else had decided let's do TikTok at the Washington Post, they would have found a great way to do it as well. I would point to like USA Today has a really good TikTok account. Now This Politics, one of my favorite fairly new ones is CBS News does a really great job because they really kind of balance the actual newsiness. I feel like it accurately affects CBS News. So that's all to say that I think it's really just about the person running it, and it didn't have to be me. I'm really glad with how it turned out. But yeah, the latter part of the question, I feel that this isn't coming anytime soon. When I get an intern or people working for the TikTok team, because right now it's me and my dog, that those people in that team would kind of pick up part of it, and they would also be in the TikToks, and there would be a level of collaboration there where if I were to leave, then that person would just kind of be in charge. So I think it'd be a pretty easy transition.
Mm. And there's a few questions about why did the post started, what the goal is. And Alexis Price asks, I work in communications and we often measure conversions based on social referrals, email signups, etc. With TikTok specifically, what do you consider conversions and how do you measure them?
So a few ways. Abstractly, it's looking at like how many views something gets. Like if for instance, if I'm going to my boss and she's going to the other boss and he just wants an update on TikTok, it's how many views did you get this month and those kind of things. But in terms of conversion itself, we have newsletters with special URLs that we post in the link in bio on our section. We have, for a long time, we had a subscription link. We still put that in from time to time, and we had like a TikTok special. Unfortunately, marketing, they don't tell me the numbers. I can never tell anyone. I don't know why that's a thing. That's just a newsroom thing. So I can't tell you the numbers, but like that is why I put that slide in the keynote. Where it was all the people commenting that they subscribed, like they got a newspaper subscription because of our TikTok account, because we do get those comments all the time. So I can't tally all those comments up. Maybe they're just lying to make me feel better, but those are there. So I think that one day we'll probably have a more clear way of measuring the conversions, but for now it's very clear that we are at least gaining subscribers.
Mm. And our last question from Niam Larkin, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly. As new apps develop and become the next trend, what do you think the next type of media that the Washington Post will move to appeal to younger generations?
I don't know. I don't think it quite exists yet. I kind of like, everyone wants to be the person that discovers it, I think that's definitely, especially amongst like young journalists, it's like, I'm going to find it, which is exactly what I did with TikTok. And I was like, we're doing this. So it's really hard to know. I would imagine it would also be something kind of video based. What you're seeing already with TikTok is that there's like already 4 or 5 different versions of TikTok, and then other, obviously Instagram is trying to they have Reels, so they're trying to adapt. So I think a lot of things are going to video direction. It's really hard to tell. I don't want to give you I could guess forever, but then I'll look like an idiot in 2 years when it's like, anyway, podcasts through your ears. I don't know, some other thing, and I'm going to be wrong. So, but I think that I'll say this, the way that you find out what that is literally just by looking at where people are going. And that's all I did with TikTok, was go like in late 2018, realized that almost 1 billion people had downloaded this app that no one was talking about. I was like, well, that has to mean something. So where the people are going, that's where it's going to be.
Thank you so much, Dave. This was really, really great. I think, now I could be wrong, but I think if people save their chat, they can save all their links. Thank you so much for providing that. And it was great to hear from you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, guys. I forgot to tell you, I dressed up for you guys. I am wearing shorts, but I hope that I look the part, even though my beard looks insane right now. I just caught a glimpse in the camera, and that's terrifying. But thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. And please, tweet at me any questions you might have or something like that. I'm happy to answer them.
All right.
That was great, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, it really was. It's time to announce SPJ's National Awards for service to the society and to the field of journalism. We already recognized a couple of our national winners at our SPJ 2020 virtual conference, which was great. Hope you were there, but it's worth mentioning them again here.
Yeah, it is. I'll mention a few. SPJ's Robert D.G. Lewis First Amendment Scholarship honored a student member who has demonstrated outstanding service to the First Amendment. And as you see there, our winner this year was Hannah Eason of Virginia Commonwealth University. Please join me in congratulating Hannah. Thank you very much, Hannah. And the Julie Galvin Outstanding Graduate Award each year recognizes one graduating journalism student on the basis of character, service to the community, scholarship, and contributions to SPJ. This one means a lot to us. Galvin was a former president of the SPJ San Jose State University campus chapter. And in 1996, she was killed in a car accident on her way to an internship. So this year's winner, as you see there, is Caitlin Howard, a graduate of the University of Oklahoma's Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication.
For more than 30 years, the Society has honored the outstanding efforts of student journalists with the Mark of Excellence Awards. This year's competition drew more than 3,000 entries throughout SPJ's 12 regions in categories covering print, radio, television, and online. Entries compete first on the regional level and then advance to the national level. And in the chat, we will share a link to the website where you can see all of the MOE winners. And you might want to make a note of this. This year's awards open on November 30th. The overall winner of the MOE Awards, or Best in Show, receives the famed MOE Award. And this year, we have an amazing group of finalists selected across all categories from this year's Mark of Excellence national winners. Let's take a look at 4 finalists. Safaya Ahmed from Virginia Commonwealth University for White Supremacy Movements Spark Rise in Religion-Based Hate in the Data Visualization category. WUFT News Staff from the University of Florida for After the Eye in Best All-Around Television News Magazine. Isabel Lohman and Mawa Iqbal from University of Missouri for After Semester of Tumult, Columbia Parents and Officials Still at Odds Over Police in Schools in the Radio In-Depth Reporting category. And George Stoya from the University of Oklahoma for Concussions, Consequences, and Conscience. OU great Ricky Dixon reflects on career that's killing him in sports writing, large school division. And now I'm honored to announce this year's Best in Show Mark of Excellence recipient is the journalism staff from the University of Southern California, Annenberg. Journalism earned the MOE for its reporting Homeless Realities. Journalism worked with members of the Los Angeles homeless community to tell powerful, immersive stories using emerging technologies that include drones, 360 video, augmented reality, and photogrammetry. Congratulations to all the MOE winners.
That is an impressive group of journalists right there. Thanks, Yvette. Next, we would like to honor our SPJ Campus Program of the Year, finalists and winner. And I'll list off the finalists first. From Region 2, the University of Maryland and Western Carolina University. From Region 3, Florida International University. From Region 5, Eastern Kentucky University. From Region 8, Texas A&M University, San Antonio. And from Region 12, the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Congratulations to all of our regional winners.
And this year, there's a tie for Campus Program of the Year winner. Congratulations to Eastern Kentucky University and University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Eastern Kentucky University used the tradition of homecoming to work with Eastern Progress, the Student Media Network, and the Department of Communications to engage with students, faculty, alumni, and the community on a special issue they called a throwback to alumni from 1960 to the present. Students spoke to former members of the Progress staff who entered the industry or used their skills to successfully move into other careers. University of Louisiana at Lafayette took 7 students and 1 professor to the National Institute of Computer Assisted Reporters 2020 conference in New Orleans, which was presented in connection with IRE for an opportunity to network with professionals and attend data-centric panels to enhance the skills they have learned and learn new ones. Their SPJ president also created the Cypress Lake Wire service to inform the public on issues within the community, and SPJ members submitted articles for the website. Thank you to all the campus chapters for the strong and innovative programs that you provide.
And for our final honor tonight, we will present our SPJ Campus Chapter of the Year. 11 SPJ campus chapters were honored as regional campus chapters of the year, and I'd like to take a quick moment to recognize all of them here. Region 1, and I saw someone from the chat here, from William Patterson University. Region 2, George Mason University. Region 3, Florida International University. Region 4, Cleveland State University. Region 5, DePaul University. Region 6, University of Minnesota. Region 8, the University of Oklahoma. Region 9, Colorado State University, Pueblo. Region 10, Western Washington University. Region 11, California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. And Region 12, the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Congratulations to all of our regional winners.
From this exceptional group, we've selected 1 as the National Campus Chapter of the Year and 1 runner-up. This year's runner-up is DePaul University for its public newsroom series that brings student journalists and the public together. Congratulations, DePaul. And this year, the National Campus Chapter of the Year is William Patterson University. They presented a series of 18 programs called Reality Check, which covered a range of topics, and continued a shadow program, which started last year with students shadowing a theater critic, and this year featured 6 students shadowing a professional basketball announcer. Congratulations.
Congratulations, that is fantastic. And that concludes tonight's award ceremony. What a great night. Thanks again to Dave for taking the time to be with us tonight. And this would not have been possible without the hard work and dedication of our prior and current SPJ Award Committee chairs. So let me give a special shout out to both Sue Kopenkatsif and Andy Schatz. Big thanks to Sue and Andy for all of your efforts on behalf of student journalists. And to all you student journalists and student advisors out there, thank you for all that you do, especially this year in the midst of a pandemic and during a long overdue racial reckoning in this nation and its institutions, including journalism. The spotlight may never have been brighter on our industry. It has been a year, and it doesn't seem like things are going to slow down in 2021. I'm proud that SPJ has been a beacon for so many of you, but I'm also proud to say that you are beacons for us. With everything going on, with all the tumult and upheaval in our industry, that you have all decided to pour your energy into journalism says something. It tells us that SPJ is here for you. It tells SPJ and journalists and Americans nationwide to have hope, that the industry is in great hands. I cannot wait to see what y'all do next. And tonight, I hope it involves continuing the celebration safely. Be safe, do great work. Thank you, and good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.